Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we're going to go over Google Cloud App Engine. We're going to talk about what it is and its purpose, and really just kind of get a idea of how we would use that for a cloud-based application. Now I've got some Google specific slides to walk through you with here, and it's going to be pretty straightforward, honestly. And we'll also take a quick peek at Amazon's offering as well as a tiny little bit of the demo. We also have some demo videos for you to walk you through how to get up and running with App Engine, kind of like a Hello World type of thing. Honestly, if you can write a script or any kind of a simple program, you're probably going to be fine writing an App Engine application. It's honestly really pretty easy, more or less. And you've, of course, are going to have labs and all that fun stuff to help you along with it as well. So let's get started here. Now, App Engine, if you've been following the blog and all the other posts, you should know that it kind of fits in to the whole PaaS type of infrastructure. So basically, platform as a service, meaning that your only goal is to be able to write and deploy applications and not have to worry about that messy infrastructure, right? So you don't care about provisioning virtual machines or setting up load balancing or any of the server centric types of activities. That's the infrastructure, right? You're going to allow basically your cloud provider to manage that for you. So, what App Engine is going to do for you here is give you a place where you can write scripts. You can either upload them or write them directly in your Cloud Shell, and you simply deploy them to your cloud provider. And this deployment, you can get things like version numbers and logs and all of that fun kind of extra detail that you need for managing an application like this. But that whole scalability and high availability without worrying about the infrastructure is key here. So let's take a look at what some of our options are. Now, this is again very Google centric, kind of business speak in a way. But again, the key is that all the hard work for the server side stuff is managed by your provider. And again, that could be good and it could be bad. Maybe you want that level of detail. Maybe you want that level of configurability and customization, and you want to manage that. Then App Engine might not necessarily be what you want to do. Set up your virtual machines, set up your load balance network, and deploy that yourself. That is fine. But if you just want to get a quick app out there and have it basically be accessible via a RESTful API of sorts, App Engine might be the solution that you're looking for. So here, with scaling, with not worrying about the infrastructure, not to beat a dead horse there, but you can pick whichever language you're most comfortable with too, which is one of the other nice benefits. In Google, at least, you can do anything really that is available in the Cloud Shell, like Python, Node, Go, Java. These are all pretty much available as long as it can be built and compiled and deployed by App Engine. It should honestly be fine. Um, so with this, there's only one kind of little gotcha, well, not really gotcha here, but it's a configuration type of thing. With Google, they give you a standard environment or a flexible environment. And what this means is that you can basically pick how much you want to manage. Okay, so with the standard environment, everything is supported by the provider, right? You don't have to really worry about much of anything in terms of getting your application up and running. You don't have to worry about what happens if you get 500,000 users at once. It's just going to automatically scale up. And if those users drop off, then your application drops off as well. And basically have that nice kind of flexible scalability. It's going to be automated. Or you could pick the flexible option, where you have more customization abilities in terms of your infrastructure. Basically, you can pick specific virtual machine configurations even. You can go into basically a lot more detail with the actual infrastructure behind the scenes. Here you can get Docker support. You can talk to your virtual machines. Basically, you have more exposure, right? More customization is available. Standard to flexible, the really big difference other than this level of customization too are that the languages that are supported are a little bit less in the standard environment. It's basically whatever is available in Cloud Shell versus flexible, where you're, again, basically providing a Docker container to work in. And then you can do whatever you want, really. You're not limited to the subset. You could use C++.NET. You could use Lisp. You could use whatever you want, as long as your Docker container supports it and that you have the ability to build, talk to the APIs, do whatever processing that you need to do here, right? So if you want configurability, customization, maybe you need the flexible option, but then it's going to be up to you to perform some of these configuration tasks. If you just want to start writing code, not worry about everything else, just totally fine, by the way. Go with the standard environment. Everything that we are going to be looking at in class, at least unless you want to go above and beyond, obviously, we're going to mainly be looking at the standard environment, where we're just going to deploy things to the Cloud Shell, and that will talk to App Engine, create all the services and deployments, and release things there. But flexible is definitely an option that is very useful as well. Okay, so let's actually take a look at how this fits in with a typical architecture. So that's what this picture is here, but we could think of it in terms of a cloud application that we're building, right? It's the purpose of the class, otherwise why would you be here? So you see here, App Engine's got a nice big block, obviously that's front and center for this particular module, but we could consider it to basically be the code underlying our application, right? So if you're writing, something that needs to be interacted with, say, on the web, maybe you're running a web store, maybe you're running a server for a multiplayer game, maybe you are just aggregating data from the internet, whatever you're doing, App Engine's going to be your code base that's running. Or, it could be some kind of an endpoint or something like that. But the point is, it's very flexible and it's very nice. Think of it like your front end application as we see here, right? Front end application. So here we have an App Engine script. Say we wrote it in Python, or wrote it in Go or Node, again, whatever your preference is. This application might be supported by other applications too. So maybe we have something on the back end as well running an App Engine. So we could be doing batch processing. We could be reading through data that is being streamed throughout our application that we need to kind of perform analytics on. Kind of the key here is that these are nice kind of examples of how you might deploy microservices, for instance. Now, do you want to do a monolithic application? You can do that here as well. You want to break things up into little microservices, little bite-sized applications? Also fine to do that in here. Right? These are basically just called by a URL. They're RESTful calls at the end of the day. Now, how do they fit in with a cloud application? Well, here on the left, you see, a computer, we see a phone, tablet, whatever your entry user interaction point is that you want to provide. This is going to talk to, in this example, we have a load balancer. Okay, so maybe we are gearing up to support thousands and thousands of users. So we're going to either allow Google to manage that for us, or maybe customize our load balancing capabilities, again, depending on which type of App Engine deployment you're going for here. And that's going to route to our App Engine. So this is our front end. We hit our load balancer. If US East 1 is too busy, go over to US Central 1. Or go over to Asia if that is your current location, because maybe you're traveling or something like that. Right? So that's, again, purpose of load balancing. We'll get into that another time. App Engine can talk to all of these different services that we have. Now, obviously, there are a ton of cloud services out there, but here's a few that we might use. Maybe we need a data store. Maybe we need to talk to Cloud SQL, or we need to talk to BigQuery. Maybe we need to talk to publish something to a pub sub topic because we are consuming that with other services. Again, the possibilities here are pretty broad. You can do a lot. But the key is that this App Engine script is going to be ideally something easy to deploy, something manageable. And if you ever need to build a new version, just make a change to your code and redeploy it. All of these other services don't have to be tweaked unless if you made some kind of significant change. So why are we going to use this? Um, with any of our services that we're looking at, you get the nice scaling, load balancing, versioning, logging, monitoring features that you probably are accustomed to at this point. Yeah. Go into your App Engine, click the logging tab. Hey, look at all these logs of the activity that I've seen with this application. Or, you can talk about security. You've got your Cloud IAM. You've got your various flows for authorization and authentication. Again, these are not necessarily different from other services, but they definitely apply here. And it's very, very useful to have your, either monolithic or microservices be versioned, be monitored, be logged, maybe be tweaked for performance. So these are all nice benefits. And if you're in here, obviously, I don't need to really sell you on the benefits of why some of these technologies are there for us. One other thing before I show you a quick little demo, because we're pretty much at time for this video, you might be asking me, okay, well, what else is out there, right? So obviously we have Azure, we have AWS, DigitalOcean, all the other providers. One of them that you may be interested in looking at is AWS Elastic Beanstalk. This is basically sorry, I had a brief sneezing fit there. So Elastic Beanstalk is basically the equivalent of our App Engine in Google. It's very, very similar. Upload your code. Beanstalk handles the deployment. So if you're looking for this in AWS, that is your technology. This seems to be newer-ish, at least at the time of this video, because a lot of the blogs and all those little comparison sites out there don't really seem to have picked this up too much. But definitely worth checking out if you are in the AWS landscape. Now, I've got a demo video on how to do App Engine and Cloud Shell, basically following along with the Code Lab. You will all do something very similar, but I just want to show you how easy it is really quickly. So I have deployed a Python script. It's a Flask web server. Again, this is the Code Lab that we've done in another module. Oops, wrong one. Hello world. So it's basically just a standard Python script. So this is a Flask web server. It's just doing a simple hello world type of call. I haven't tweaked anything for App Engine here, right? This would run just fine on any Python deployment. I deployed it as an App Engine script. I can curl it, and I can get a response. I can also, so I also added on a query string variable here, hello there, CIS680. It's also accessible by the web. All it took was writing a Python script and basically typing in, there we go, gcloud app deploy. It's pretty straightforward. And the only other thing to really show here, and again, you'll get a lot of experience with this in the demos and your labs, but here is my App Engine. I see a summary. I can set cron jobs. I can set versions. I only have one version because I just did a quick little demo here, but if I kept doing redeployments, I would get multiple versions. You see all of these features that we've kind of talked about here as well. Firewall rules, quotas, instances, services, anything that I could possibly need to keep an eye on my App Engine scripts. So I will leave you with that short overview. Again, just to kind of summarize, this is your platform as a service environment. Basically, you're just writing code, not worrying about the infrastructure. You can if you want, but by default, you don't necessarily need to. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.